Yo, what's up? Your boy Zay. I'm tired of retaking this video. I just got off work. I'm tired. So, it's gonna be just straight off the dome. If I mess up, I mess up. It is what it is. So, kind of want to talk about how it feels in my experience and even some of the experience from others who I've been at shows with, vended along with, and just communicated with who also vend Dragon Ball. Because there are a lot of other vendors who, dip and dabble. They kind of want to test it out. And I'll, talk to them and I always check up on them either during the middle of the show when things kind of die down or at the beginning or the end of the show to kind of see like how their day went in comparison to mine. Especially if they have like not similar cards to me in terms of price range or even just like characters. I kind of want to see like, hey, because my price range is usually around like 200 and under, with a couple with a binder, if I don't forget to leave it at home. Um, Mine is about 200 and under. I've seen and talked to people whose range is anywhere from like 200 to 1,000. And that's a mix of graded cards and singles. And I've also at my second show seen someone who had dealt with mainly graded cards, so they did have more lower end in a sense of 500 or like a couple hundred, but they went all the way up to like multi-thousand-dollar cards. So I've talked with them and conversed, and um, we all kind of had similar experiences where when you're at these shows, you have to understand that you are the outlier. You are not necessarily going to be 99% of people's first option when it comes to getting cards because usually people are there for sports, Pokemon, then usually One Piece, and potentially some other things. So you're not necessarily going to be, sorry, my phone is dying, so I need to make this quick as well. So you're not necessarily going to be people's first option. And sometimes people might not even have money left over or even have money planned for potential Dragon Ball stuff. So you have to also be in this for kind of the love of the game and for the love of Dragon Ball and just because you love it, and be able to communicate with people and show up to multiple events because the more that you show up, the more that people know you as the Dragon Ball person, the more, and if they are an attendee that, attends multiple shows, if they see that you're consistent and they see that you show up to multiple shows, then maybe not your second show, maybe even not your third show, but maybe your fourth or fifth show that you do, then they might be like, hey man, I actually do like Go Tanks or Trunks or Teen Gohan or something like that. Do you have any of those cards? Like, I got a little bit of extra cash and I want to support. I've seen you out here, and also being able to communicate about Dragon Ball. A lot of people when you watch like Pokemon vendor content, a lot of deals get done because people have a good time communicating about Pokemon. Like, there's been plenty of times I've attended multiple shows, not as a vendor but as a buyer, where dude, like you walk up to a table and a person doesn't even say hi to you. Like they're just on their phone. They don't even acknowledge you, or they might see you looking. They look at you, and then you might walk. Like they'll literally just stand there and just let you look. They won't say hi to someone. So it's like situations like that. But back to more of like the market stuff. You also need to be mindful of the type of shows that you're going to. If you're going to stuff like front rows, collecticons, you need to bring front row collecticon inventory. I'm not saying skip out on the small stuff. Have a binder or a selection of small things for people to pick up. You know, they just spent $500-600 on Pokemon. They might have like 10-20 bucks left over to pick up like a character that they like, in terms of like a SPR or a energy marker or an Altar. But also be mindful that if you're at Collecticon, how much did you pay for that table? you might need to bring a couple $1,000s, $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff to make it worth it to cover the cost of the table, potential travel, etc. But if you're going to more smaller shows, you need to be mindful that a lot of people in some of these smaller shows, they don't have the money to be dropping $500 to $1,000, $10,000 on grails. They might literally just be there and be like, I can toss $5 on this SPR that looks cool. Oh, that's a nice little card. I'll spend a couple dollars here. It's like, be be mindful of the shows and areas that you're in, and don't go into it with the expectation that you're gonna make bank, because you're Dragon Ball. Like, in a sea full of Pokemon, you are literally you're the needle in the haystack, and most people aren't even trying to find you. They're not trying to find the needle in the haystack. Now, like I said, as you kind of go on in more and more shows, people might recognize you, and they'll come to you, especially if you're the one of two or three Dragon Ball people, and everybody else might outprice them or price them out of cards and stuff. They might come to you because you have a wider selection. So, you know, be mindful of stuff like that. There's definitely more things I could talk about. I'm just kind of yapping right now. But even when it comes to price range, I'll tell you too. One of the best things you can do is a dollar binder. Have a binder that's like full of dollar cards, all the way up to like $10 to $20 cards. Just have it. Make sure it's full of SPRs, foils. It could be some rares in there, and just have them priced out. And if it's like a 25 cent, like, you can pick it up as bulk. Like, have some in variety. Have different characters. Don't just pick Goku. Don't just pick Bulma, Chi-Chi, Vegeta, Broly's. Have Trunks. Have Goten. Have Majin Buu, Janemba. You would be surprised at how many people have come up to me and I'm like, "What's your favorite character?" And they're like, "Trunks, Kid Gohan." Oh man, my favorite character is like Doctor. Well, maybe not Doctor Gero, but like Android 16. So you need to have a wide range and a wide variety. And in Dragon Ball, luckily, there's a lot of price ranges of especially SPRs that you can pick up that are relatively cheap. That you can pick up for a lower cost, because people, they're not looking at those. They're looking at manga arts. They're looking at gold and silvers. They're not looking at that cheap $5 SPR that you might be able to pick up for $2, but you're able to sell it for $4 or $5. So think about that type of stuff when you're picking out your inventory, and if you want to attend shows, and don't go into it with the expectation that you're going to make $1 million, because realistically you're not. You're going to need to attend multiple events, and don't be opposed to trading other games for Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball for other games. Give people a little bit more variety, even if your case is like 60 or 70% Dragon Ball and maybe the rest One Piece, or maybe the rest Pokemon. Having that extra variety there helps, but if you want to stick mainly to Dragon Ball, you can also do that as well. So that's kind of it. I kind of yapped about a lot of different stuff. Maybe I might need to have like a little list on the side so I can kind of stay on topic. But I enjoy like these free balling videos, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, appreciate you. Leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know. Peace.